Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. And today's conflicted card, deck 1 card, is the Queen of Diamonds. And I will basically read this to you guys really quick. Essentially, your group is on the other side of a pass, and a roving gang is on their way toward you, and you have time to set up an ambush at a choke point, but they travel with their wives and children. And so if you do ambush them, you will be killing their wives and children. But if you don't ambush them, they will get through the pass, and they will find and overwhelm your group. By not ambushing them, you're basically letting them take over. So what do you do? What do you do? This is conflicted deck 1. And these are pretty cool. There's 52 of these, so we're going to be going through them for a while. And I have 5 decks. So I suppose we could read a couple a day, considering how crazy things are getting. But maybe we'll find another tarot deck after we get through this one. So today's comic is King Conan number 9. This is the cover. This cover is fairly accurate to the inside of the issue of the story. And Conan is still out with Prince Conn, and they are somewhere in Africa. Although this part of Africa, this is actually the Pictish wilderness. So I've missed a bunch of issues. They're clearly not in Stygia. They are somewhere in the Pictish wilderness. And this Pictish wilderness is a lot like Native America, North America, when the Native Americans were here. And they are having a powwow with a Pictish king, a Pictish tribal chieftain. And they're having some negotiations about hunting parties inside each other's boundaries. This is still a relatively long comic book. This is not Roy Thomas writing. It's someone else. So, Bones of the Brown Man, drawn by John Buscema, but written by Doug Monk. And I think this is probably mostly drawn by John Buscema first, and then written by Mr. Monk later. And so here is Conan sitting down with the Picts, and they're discussing blah, blah, blah. And then, this is an interesting bit. So Conn is along to learn diplomacy and whatnot. Couple pages of ads, and while they're having this negotiation, the Conan and the Pictish king get heated with each other and almost come to blows, and it's Conn who comes up with the solution, which is just to limit the number of hunters in the hunting parties, so that if there's more than that, they know that it's a raiding party, etc., etc. And in this way, Conan and what's his name don't have to fight. Conan and the Pictish leader, whose name I also forgot. I read it, and I read it and thought I would remember it, and I don't. I read this earlier today. I've been drawing for a while. And here we get an interesting bit. Conn and the Pictish son, the son of the tribal chieftain, are having a competitive game where they throw a knife at a post and try and get it into, basically like basketball for throwing knives. And the deal is you can push each other and knock each other down. And if someone throws it, you can bump them when they're throwing, and if someone throws it, you can retrieve it. And so this kid retrieves it and scores a goal really quick. And Conn kind of got suckered. And this is similar to how the story goes, to be honest. This whole story is about this kid has to do a rite of passage, and Conn agrees to go with him. Let me get to that page before I get ahead of myself. This is a long comic. So there is this evil tribal shaman, and he's got plans. He's scheming, and the regular shaman is out of town. He's out of town on business. He's away on some trip. But so this guy creates the rite of passage for the son of the tribal chieftain. I suppose I should look up his name because it's going to get tiring. Me keep saying the son of the tribal chieftain. The tribal chieftain is Dekanawatha, and his son is Akanek. Now let me figure out where they are and point them out to you. The tribal chieftain is kind of easy. This is not the tribal chieftain. This is some shaman. He's evil. You can tell by the way John Buscema drew his face. The tribal chieftain is down here. He's talking to Conan. When it's not Conn, here he is. He's got the headdress on up here. He's the one who looks like an Indian chief. And his son is Akanek, which is a hard name to say. And when you read names like that, like Dekanawatha and Akanek, your brain just doesn't pronounce them in your head. And it's just, oh, the kid. That's what everybody does. Don't tell me you don't do it, because so many people said Magneto and not Magneto in their heads for years. Maybe. Or other names. You never know. Anyhow, they have to get the wings of an eagle, the antlers of a stag, and the bones of the brown man, which are buried in an ancient Indian shrine, or Pictish shrine, that they have to go raid, essentially. And what's happened, this is supposed to be like an all-night quest, or 24-hour quest. And in the middle of the night, the shaman and his crew set out after them. So they're going to ambush them once they fulfill their quest. And they've already got the wings of the eagle. And now they've got the antlers of the stag. And there's also a deal that whoever gets the last, the bones of the brown man, gets to seize all the trophies. Like, there can only be one winner. But the way it works out is there's this big snake. Here's where they go after the bones of the brown man. They're raiding this ancient shrine. And there's this giant green python there. And the kid, Akanek, gets mesmerized or hypnotized. And he almost gets killed. But Conn doesn't. And Conn has a knife. And is this the one where he kills it? No, not yet. But he does. This is kind of cool. He shoves a rock in its jaws. Ooh, this sucks. This one page is coming out. So this is going to be a little tough for me to hold. I'm going to hold it up here at the top. So Conn shoves a rock in the snake's jaws and then drives a knife through its head. Because he couldn't get the knife out of its sheath when he first started the fight. And Akanek the whole time didn't move. But then Akanek goes up and gets the bones, so technically he wins. And then the shamans show up and they steal everything because it was all a setup from the get-go. Because they, because of who they are, they couldn't get past the python and the shrine. And there's like some magic preventing them from getting in there. Sorry if my fingers are covering this up. This one's a really old comic and it's kind of falling apart. But look at everything we've seen so far. Is there any entertainment out today that is this simple and forthright and still good? Not really. If you're going to take notes, I mean, I was drawing all day, so I was looking at this for notes on art too, but in terms of story development, now this is Doug Monk. I don't know if that means that he just did the word balloons or if he did everything, but regardless, you know, where was Roy Thomas? I'm sure he's not far away. He's probably stepping in to fix all the screw-ups on Conan the Barbarian. Yes, this is, okay, here it is. This is them doing their ritual, and the kids are tied to boulders. And Conn has an idea that they can take a bit of charcoal and write on a scrap of rag and sneak over to a bow and arrow and fire a message off. But in order to do that, Anek is going to have to try and escape with the boulder. Anek apparently doesn't know how to use a bow and arrow. In this one, Conn knows how to use a bow and arrow, but Anek doesn't. So this is the page where they do that. Last page was just exposition of them explaining that was their plan. And I think Conn reached over and grabbed the bow. And so here they do it. They execute their plan, and it works. And someone comes running back to Conan's camp with the note, and this is his father, Dekanawatha. See, I've already forgotten it. How do you remember that name? And to say this is Pictish and not Native American, why couldn't they be Pictish like Irish or like Scottish, and just make them wear kilts? It's John Buscema. I don't mind. Anyhow, they got the note, and Conan now understands that they've been kidnapped. And so they are on their way to rescue them. And on their way to rescue them, they get ambushed by a bunch of guys, and they have to fight them. And the only ones left are Dekanawatha and Conan. The rest of the team has to go back or loses or whatever. I don't remember what happens. I don't think they all get killed. And then there's these mists, and they have to go through these mists. But it's their sons, so they're not going to turn back. They're going to keep going. This whole King Conan, almost every episode is, instead of Conan going to jail, he gets separated from Conn. This is the new trope. He gets separated from Conn and then has to go searching for him. So this is a trope that you see in a lot of The Walking Dead, that you see in a lot of sort of microcosm TV shows where a character is taken hostage. And so this is them fighting a bunch of savages to reach their sons. And then they fight the brown man, who's actually quite green. But he's come up out of the base of the river. And this is just like the cover, right? I love when the cover matches the story. I love that so much. I really look, this is John Buscema, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. They have a whole chapter on covers, and those lines are like gospel to me. I read that book so many times, and I just think I have an idea for covers that you could do a cover that should match the interior of the book, where you have all the main characters and you have all the weapons, and you should be able to play that cover. You could turn it over and you could have rules like Dungeons and Dragons, and like flip coins for who attacks who in what order and with what weapon, and you could have it be like a game to see who wins. And if the strategy that you come up with matches or is smart enough, it will automatically win. The first one I have already works. I could do that over and over and over again, and it would be great to license covers from the big companies and do that with their stuff. Make like little role-playing encounters where you make the covers playable. So yeah, here they have a big fight with the monster, and the monster brags to them and tells them its weakness, that as long as it's in the river, that no wounds they do to it can really hurt them, can really hurt him. Monster's semi-retarded, so they have to convince it to come out of the river, and they do. They convince it to chase them up a convenient mountain, and it does, where they start a convenient landslide and trap it so that it can't move its feet. And then Conan, behind this massive boulder, threatens this monster. I will drop this boulder on your head unless you agree to help me fight my enemies instead of fighting me. And the monster agrees, and they give it time to dig itself out, and it heads down the river to fight the guys who attack them. You gotta love the simple things, right? And now here we get 2 pages of the monster smashing savages. Like this is where comics really shine. And this is why Conan the Barbarian should be a cartoon, because of scenes like this. Like, who else is going to do this for you? Where else are you going to get this? Where else are you going to get this? No one's done this before or since. And why not? Because it's too easy and it's too obvious. And this is going to give every kid nightmares. Any kid who sees this cartoon, the only thing better would be biting people's heads off. And I suppose there was something like that in Lord of the Rings, right? One of those troll monsters was biting people's heads off. And so after the battle, the monster's it's out of the water, and all the other people have killed it. The only ones left are Conan and Dekanawatha. And now they can go find their sons. And they do. Here they catch up with the shamans, and they give them what for. And there's 4 shaman and only 2 of them. And I don't remember quite what happens, how it is that they defeat them, what they do. I don't think any of them run off. I didn't read this that long ago. Oh, this is kind of cool. They're in the hut. They're preparing some kind of, they're waiting while the brown man, who's actually quite green, kills Conan and Dekanawatha. And Conan figures out where they are and stabs one of them through the wall of the straw hut. You can see that the sword come out through his chest. And in just a second, I will show you which panel it is. Right here, this bottom panel on this page. So, that is the kind of thing that would give children nightmares, but it's also the kind of thing that desperately needs to be a Conan the Barbarian cartoon. Done well. Why not? You've got all these episodes already done. It's already done for you. So look, they kill them in short order. Slicing through them, stabbing them. We don't get a lot of blood, but a lot of spears and swords penetrating torsos. And in true John Buscema fashion, 7-panel last page. But the boys are free. Where are they anyhow? Yeah, here they are. All together in the final panel. Second to the last panel. John Buscema is the king of the quick wrap up. And check this out. The number 1 Conan the Barbarian comics trope falls to the guest star Dekanawatha, the Pictish chief who throws his axe. It's not Conan throwing the sword. It's the Pictish chief, throws his axe, throws the hatchet, and now we have all these hatchet-throwing bars that if those aren't a setup for the coming civil war and the coming zombie plague, I don't know what is. Those all kind of started during COVID, didn't they? The hatchet-throwing bit, these little bars all suddenly are throwing hatchets. It's kind of awesome. Only in America, right? Legacy of Mad Scientist, Legend of Ashley Fox, amazing audiobooks or ebooks or paperbacks if you want to buy them from Amazon.com. Also a PDF comic book for you guys here in the description. There's a bunch of links in the description, all kinds of cool stuff for you to go waste your time. And yeah, I don't know if I have any drama I want to talk about. There's lots of drama going on. Everyone, it feels like, is touchy and on edge. I had a really bad phone call today where I was not at my best. It's too bad. It's frustrating. I wish I could be a better person. I wish I could help people more and be less selfish. It's not all that easy sometimes. All right, see you guys tomorrow.